Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dugout Mug Studios. This is the 7th Inning Stretch.
And we are back with you another week here, 7th Inning Stretch, the final week in the Major League Baseball season. Me and Mr. Edwards have made it through the whole baseball season. We appreciate anybody that's been with us this season. We'll be starting the playoffs part of it next week as well. A lot to get into tonight. A lot of games here going on right now as we're live that had a lot of playoff impact. The Orioles just beat the Yankees, so they're 9-7, so they kind of barely stay alive there for the division. You mentioned on air coming on with the Mets and Braves rain delay you just heard about. That's going to be a big factor here. So a lot of things here still to play out the final week, Mr. Edwards. I know you're playing a little injured, but this is late September, right? There's nothing expected.
You got to gut it out, baby. You got to keep grinding.
Exactly.
So if you see me moving, guys, hold on. Listen to that.
Yeah.
If you see me moving a lot, my back is really stiff. So there's nothing else going on. I just want to get this out the way so there's no accusations. I'm just moving to keep my back loose. So if you see me doing a lot of this tonight, everything's all right.
You're all good. All right. Well, we do have a lot to get into right now. And the one thing I want to kind of start with is I want to get into I don't know why I wanted to start. I really do want to get into the biggest disappointments here in Major League. And then I'm going to and one of the biggest disappointments, and maybe the biggest, is my Oakland A's moving out of Oakland, and tomorrow being the last game. And they're going to be going to Sacramento. And just so for me, I'm going to get the opportunity to go with my two sons, my dad, and my brother, which will be good memories, considering we went to so many Raiders games and A's games. I mean, a ton, like 500 over easily. My son had his Make-A-Wish Foundation there when he went to see Monster Jam at 4 years old. Like that place, even though it's just like a stadium, for me, it's a big deal. And the Oakland A's are a big deal. The Sacramento A's and Las Vegas A's, yeah, I get it. It's a uniform color, but I'm telling you, it's not going to mean the same for me. It's not like, oh, go Giants now or something like that. But it's like it'll probably still be my team, but it's not going to be the same at all. And like when my aunt the other day is like, "Are you going to go to Sacramento?" I'm like, I really don't want it. Like there is part of me that doesn't really want to go to that level anymore because I'm so used to my 40 years being able to go to that Coliseum, to be able to root on my team and be able to like feel an atmosphere that you were a part of. And so for me tomorrow, I'm interested to see how my emotions are in this weird way. Going like trying to get there early at 11, taking the local BART station here, giving them the full Oakland experience, doing that, and then all those things, and leaving the stadium, knowing for me this is the last time I'll be. So it's gonna be very interesting tomorrow for me going. And it just sucks, man. It's just I can't rip into it enough of how bad of a situation this was, and so many people have said it better than me this week. But I'll just tell you this, from my standpoint, it really, really hurts. And I think Major League Baseball is making they're making a big mistake leaving Oakland and not getting rid of the owner, getting a new owner in and seeing if they could make it work. I mean, Joe Lacob, who bought the Warriors when they were one of the worst NBA teams in the history of the world. I mean, they were terrible in 2010, 12 when he bought them. He spent money and made them better. He has an offer out there. He's had an offer out there for years to buy the Oakland A's, and he would probably be able to get a stadium done along with these other guys. So they just chose not to sell the team, which they don't have to, right? There's rights to all this stuff, but there is a way where the commissioners sometimes can force things. You know what I mean? And so yeah. I just don't think – I think the A's, for me, are making a big mistake, and they're getting rid of a lot of history. And so it sucks.
I feel you wholeheartedly. Because I just went through this in 15, 16, 17.
With the Rams. And I went through it with the Oakland Raiders too.
Yeah, so I mean that's not to the same extent. You know that.
But my point is like I saw two teams that I went to for a long time. My dad got season tickets in 95. He gave them up in 2016. That's 21 years of football. We went twice a year. You got to be. So for me, that was.
I stand corrected.
Well, I just mean that was my childhood team, like your Rams were.
So, I mean, I get where you're at.
But, Josh, it's the players, too, for the Oakland A's. Like, they're going to be kind of forgotten a little bit here. Like, I'm just saying, like, if you go into that stadium, there's, like, Tim Hudson, Tejada, Reggie Jackson, the 70, like, Eckersley. Like, if they get to Vegas in 10 years from now, like, the fans in Vegas, they're not going to be, like, they're not going to have that investment in the players like Miguel Tejada and Eric Chavez and Eric Byrne, like, these random players that the way the Oakland fan base did. So that's where I just, like, when you move a franchise like that, think about all the Expos players we don't even think about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know. That's
Or how many players we know that are great that we forgot that they were Expos.
Yeah,
that's probably a better way for me to imagine it because, well, the Expos. When did the Expos leave?
they left about 2006, somewhere around there.
They were around that long.
Yeah, I think this. I want to say maybe around there, 2006, 2008. That's probably where they.
Okay, so I thought they left in the late 90s.
Yeah, I'll look it up
because that's the last I really remember of them much.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like that's where they were at. Yeah, 2004.
2004. Okay,
so around that time, yeah. Darren, did you take anything that? I'm gonna go tomorrow. I'm going tomorrow. So 12:37 start out here. Well, go ahead, Josh.
You get that. You get a chair and you hang it up on that door, so we can see it every single show.
I don't think. The thing is, like, I don't know if that's the owner doesn't own the stadium, and so like I don't feel like Oakland owns the Coliseum, so I'm not like
he has to pay for damages. For it.
He will not pay for damage. There, are you kidding me? We still pee in troughs over there. They're not paying for anything.
Seriously?
They're just bathtubs. That's literally what they are. They're just bathtubs. I mean, you've seen it.
How is it IMS?
Yeah, it's not uncommon, but these ones are a little different. But it fits the bill there. But I don't know, Josh. It's just, to me, this is the biggest story headed into the last week of the season. You could say, well, nobody cares because if you're a Mets fan, you're just like Aaron over here, you just care about the Mets getting the playoffs, which I respect. Like, I remember caring about the Expos moving, but like you don't think about the whole franchise of it. But man, it's a weird feeling for me. It really is. And so I'm interested to see how it goes tomorrow.
I'm sure it's going to be emotional for you. You're old enough that it's not going to be surreal, I don't think.
No, it's going to be probably more like that funeral feeling a little bit, like thinking about like memory type of stuff, like, nostalgic kind of stuff like that. Like I said, so I think that's the biggest thing. And then like just not having the team to be able to take my kids to. We'll take them to Sacramento. I get it. For me, it's just not going to be the same. I just feel it. So I'll root for the A's probably still, but it's going to be a little bit from afar. Even like for the Raiders now, I like them, but that's not the same. Like there is a little difference.
No, I get that. Like, so for me, I have not yet rooted for the Rams since Kroenke took the team out of St. Louis. There was one occasion where I rooted for the Rams. That was when they played the Patriots in the Super Bowl and they lost. And that's because it was against Tom Brady, and I was just tired of him breaking records. And all the respect in the world to Tom Brady.
Great Super Bowl.
Arguably the greatest quarterback of all time. But I feel your pain. I get it. Hell, my dad lost 2 football teams out of St. Louis because he lost the Cardiac Cardinals to Arizona too.
I know, and that you're right. And people been saying that to me. They're like, well, they did have to move from Kansas City to get here. They did move from Philly. I go, yeah, but for me, it's 57 years in one spot. Like that. Like I said, like you're leaving behind a lot of good players from that generation. And they can say, well, they'll still be A's guys. Yeah, maybe the guys like Ricky Henderson and some of the big names will still kind of be there with it. But a lot of these guys that are Oakland A's players, and they're going to be forgotten about a little bit with it, in my opinion. So we'll see how that goes. It
drives me nuts when LA claims Kurt Warner and Marshall and Isaac and Torrey. And I'm like, they weren't yours.
No.
They were ours.
Yeah.
Greatest show on turf was not yours. It was ours. Don't lay claim to it. I want to know in a year or two when you see these things happen, I want to see if it gets you going. Because for me, it just
it probably will rile me up too. So I look forward to the documentary. I'm also interested to see if they'll have like the shops open tomorrow. Like,
they gotta sell out everything.
So everything discount. Get everything stolen. No, I'm just kidding. We'll see what that's like. It's supposed to be sold out. 45,000 there. It's so funny. Everybody says never forget Scott Hatterberg. I honestly never bring this play up very often because for me it was like a play that defined him, but it really, in my mind, it wasn't even the best part of like any highlight I think about. It was a great moment, but there was like 8 other games in that streak that were better. Hint, I might get one up on there tonight. So that you're
going to.
Yeah, we're gonna get at least 5 up tonight. No, I'm just kidding. We're gonna get a few though. But my point is like, I don't know, that play that signifies it, but I don't know. For a lot of people, your generation, that's a little bit. What you like? I think you're 8 years younger, be 10 years younger. Like there's things like where that play like that play really it stands out more. And the movie obviously kind of made it a little bigger. So we'll see there with it. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. This is my final goodbye to it. I'll let you know next week how it went with some of if there's any blowback from it. But I just wanted to start there because not every week you're losing a team that you grew up loving. So and for MLB itself, that's going to be a little different. Sacramento is, so there will be some storylines, I'm sure, with the stadium being a minor league stadium. You're going to hear some stuff there with it.
I've heard about the ticket prices are ungodly. They're almost doing the same thing that Arizona did when they played. The Coyotes did when they went and played in the Arizona State University.
Man, there's a lot of. To me, it's very interesting that the ownership. The other owners have stand by and given this guy a lot of money over the years because of the collective bargaining agreement they have, where if you don't spend enough, they do that. I mean, there was years where the A's would have, like the Yankees would have a player that made more money in a season than the A's payroll. Like, I mean, think about that. Like that's really nuts to like say, okay, this guy's really doing his job, but he has $3 billion. He has this, he has a state, they tried in 5. He's like, well, and then he writes this letter. I don't know if you read this. He sent a letter to the fans saying he wishes he could apologize to each of us individually. Dude, you have avoided interviews for 20 years. He's literally done 2 interviews and they were cupcake interviews. You know what I mean? Like, Josh, I'm not lying about that. Like, you can look it up. He has not done more than like 2-3 interviews, like in 20 years. Like, he's not there. He's not at the games. He is not available. And so for that bull crap to come out and say we tried 5 locations, well, 3 of them were not even in Oakland. And so my point is, like, they weren't realistic. I think he wanted this the whole time. And I'm tired of the national media saying it's better to go to Vegas. I don't necessarily agree with that, Josh. I think when you have history on a place for 57 years, going to Vegas is not, for a baseball, is not going to be your best, necessarily the best baseball move. I don't think so, in a way. Not for a home base.
I agree with you 100%. And with the history that baseball has with betting, when the A's move to Vegas,
if they do,
okay, if the A's move to Vegas, clip this, put this online. This is not controversial. Pete Rose, there's no argument for Pete Rose not to be in the Hall of Fame. Not a single one.
But
no excuse at all.
Make him the GM of the A's at this point, right?
I'd be fine with that.
All right. Well, that's my rant on it.
Change the name to the Dealers.
I know. I was frustrated with this, so I wanted to get this out. I appreciate you letting me have your ear for a moment on this. But it kind of means, I mean, think about it. I have like all this stuff out here, and it really, in a way, it doesn't mean as much to me going forward as it did then. So it is kind of interesting to think about all the things you had there. So we'll see how tomorrow goes. I'll let you guys know next week there with it. Oakland A's fans, tomorrow we will cry over cement walls. We will do it together as a group. We will do it. All right. Biggest disappointments. I talked about the ownership there with it. Josh, the Reds fired David Bell yesterday, or was it the other day? Doug, I know, happy out there at Ohio Sports Talk to finally do that. The Reds, big disappointment. He was a disappointment for them as well. And then the Blue Jays, to me, stand out a little bit too. I think more so because I thought that their core players were a little better than they showed this year. And I felt like they put all their eggs in maybe Ohtani's basket, and that seemed to maybe slow them down after that a little bit. I don't know. So those, to me, are the 2 ones that stand out. And I mean, I know we talked about the Giants, Cardinals as well, but those 2 teams to me, along with the, I guess we could say Rangers. Those are my initial ones. You got any thoughts on those teams as well?
So I would agree with you across the board, and I would even throw the Mariners in there.
I mean, what
they should have been a playoff team this year.
Oh my God, how? If you're a fan of that team, you talk about expecting heartbreak. That if you're a fan base there, that's all you expect now at this point is heartbreak. I mean, did you see the play where the guy, what was it, Arena, swing the bat, almost hit Rodriguez at third base, and he had to jump out of the way, and then the catcher threw it, or then Chisholm was like, he's way off the bag. He's like past the third base coach out there. He like thought it was a dead ball or something situation.
No,
they tag him out, Josh. So just you have those type of situations that have come up over the time here. So I don't know. Those are some things with me that were disappointing. And what did you think of the Reds one? The Reds firing Bell. So you think that's the right move?
I'm surprised they didn't fire him in the middle of the season, to be honest with you.
I wonder why they didn't. You're right. It would have made more sense to do it then, right?
There's so much talent on that team, and it's
the Green injury. I think really hurt them at the second half too.
Yeah, but I mean, they have so much talent up and down that line, that young, unpolished
Yep.
talent there. It's very raw. It's unfortunate that with that raw talent, they couldn't overcome that injury. The inconsistencies, the way the team was managed, which is obviously why Bell's gone. It's a shame for Cincinnati fans, but you know what? We were all mad at their owner last year or their chairman, whatever he is, for saying what he said last year. I think it's the owner about the fans, how he's going to stick it to them. So I don't care for him much either. So I just kind of feel bad for the Cincinnati fans. And Doug, I'm still waiting on that hat to show up so I can fulfill our wager.
I wanted to touch on the team you mentioned, the Mariners. They were up, Josh, by what was it? 13 games over 500 on June 18th, and they had a 10-game lead on June 18th. Yes, I know, only a few. You could say only 2.5 months into the season, but I mean, they're 26-29 in the second half. They have just not played good baseball. I mean, that play at third base, I'll try to get it up on the screen. Is one of the just more. I get it, a bat's flying at your head, but like it's not a dead ball situation, so you have to be a little bit more aware of it. And like, so it just that team. What a dumpster fire at the end of the season. And I kind of have to throw the Twins in there a little bit. I feel like they're kind of really fading here, which is giving the Tigers, who have playing great baseball, a chance to keep in. But the Twins have really, I mean, it just isn't the same. Their offense isn't there anymore.
They did what I expected the Guardians to do at some point. But the Guardians have stayed on track and are one of the best teams in all of baseball without Terry Francona, which is why Mr. Aaron right there is correct.
Correctamundo with that one.
It's one of the biggest disappointments. It's not the biggest, but one of the.
Oh, it's for me. Yeah, I think it's right there with. I think the Twins, they could have done better with it. I think the Rangers definitely deserve a little bit more with it. They just, man, talk about just a bad.
I mean, they were plagued with injuries, much like the Braves, up and down the board. But they signed those pitchers.
Yeah,
they knew what they were risking, and then they went and did it. And this is why I will not sign. This is where Logan and I get into it. You've heard us do it. I will not pay big time money for pitchers like that because if you give them a 6-year contract, you're probably only going to end up seeing 3 years of them, maybe 4 years of them playing. So you're just wasting money. That's my problem with them.
Pitchers are tough. Pitchers are a tough one. But then you hit on a few too, Josh, and I don't know. I think it depends where you're at.
I'd rather develop them than trade for them or sign free agents.
I think that's always the way to do it, and if you can, I think that's like always the best way to build.
Well, that's not how the big teams do it, Darren.
Well, I mean, Judge was a homegrown player.
That's one guy.
Well, their shortstop's also a homegrown player. Their second baseman's also a homegrown player. Their catcher's a homegrown player.
Okay,
so they have a few. They have a few of them that are there with it.
I'm just used to the Yankees buying their teams.
They are, but Judge was technically a homegrown player there with it, and he's a stud. So he has 56 the other day. What do you think of a team? For me, I thought they were going to be a lot better. I thought the Cubs. I mean, they kind of turned it on here in the second half, but we talked a lot about your Cardinals, but I think the Cubs also, I expected a lot more from them as well. And then a team too that really faded was the Pirates. So I was a little disappointed in the way the Pirates finished this season.
That's because you were unreasonable, my friend.
They need even Mike McHenry was on last year. He said a 500 season is kind of what they that don't you think that's what's unrealistic about that? A 500 season? That cannot be.
No, I mean, I thought 500 was going to be like their ceiling.
Wow. Okay.
But it's because I'm in the division with the Pirates and I've watched them for so many years and I see what their ownership and their front office does.
Pathetic.
It's where players go to die.
So do you think that? So you don't find them as a disappointment the way I do?
No, that's why I said when you were very high on them and the Cubs and the Reds. Actually, you were high on the entire division except for the Cardinals. You saw them
start good. You saw them play good.
Because I've seen it happen 30 times, man. Just same thing I've seen with Cincinnati.
I'm disappointed.
Start 10 games over 500, 40 games into the season, and then they fall apart.
The
Cubs I was disappointed in. I'll give you that one.
I'm
hoping that the Pirates will figure it out before Cincinnati does. But these two teams to me are just a mirror of each other. Pirates will run out of their stud pitchers going forward.
They have a few studs. We'll see if they can get it
Yeah.
going next
Well,
year.
they should have studs. They get the top pick at the top of the draft all the time because they always suck.
That's true.
I mean, so that's why Baltimore's good now.
They had
They went
Cole.
through 10 years of being horrible. I don't know how the Rockies have never gotten good. I don't know, man. I mean, Angels have been bad for so long. I don't know how they're not good. I don't know how Oakland never got good.
Oakland's,
they're teams that have been-
Oakland's been pretty good. That we've always been decent. We're not the.
I mean, perennial.
Perennial. Well, okay. So you're saying like the Astros?
I'm talking the last 20 years. Like,
yeah, the last 20 years we've probably been in the playoffs more than half the league easily.
Really?
Yeah, dude, we were in the playoffs a ton, but we lost in the wild card. That's why. That's why you don't remember us. Yeah. We were always there.
You don't make it the division round. I don't count it.
Yeah, I think we made it like 4 out of six. The first two from 2000 2006. I think they made it every year. And then
the last time I tasted the playoffs as a Cardinals fan for me was 19.
19. All right, I get you.
I mean, we've been in the playoffs since, but we haven't gotten out of the wild card, so I haven't tasted the playoffs. That's a personal thing, man.
Well, tonight you're going to get a few Oakland A's videos to get you a little taste of Oakland. I know you are. And so I'm going to give you a taste of it. I'm going to give you a little taste of our last playoff ones here with it. Hey, what do you think of you want to just I know the Cardinals have disappointed you. So I know you want to what do you think? Like just kind of a bullet point with it. Like what's the main thing is for you?
For the Cardinals?
Yeah, like what's the main thing you're just like that this is why they're a disappointment to me. If I said
because the front office is full of crap and they lie.
Lie? Wow. What's the lie, sir?
The St. Louis Cardinals front office is a bunch of trash. They came out and said they were going to increase payroll. They said they were going to be aggressive in the market. Why do you think Arenado decided to sign his option and stay in St. Louis instead of going and getting paid? The man could have gotten paid. He wanted to be winner. He wanted World Series accomplishments, and he had World Series aspirations. Well, look what they did to Goldie. They wasted the end of his prime. They're wasting Arenado. I defend, and Logan's going to go ape crap when he hears me say this. I'm 100% behind Wilson Contreras' comments over the weekend about how the ownership's being lazy and they do not want to own this division. They could easily own the division.
I think Logan would agree with you on that. Don't you think?
Well, I know, but I think it's going to be crazy that I'm backing Wilson Contreras.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
I mean, you and the Giants are so similar. It's sickening how weird your guys' fan bases are the same. It's crazy.
I know.
I mean, everything you're saying is like me driving into work, hearing talk radio on the Giants. It's like all I'm doing is putting the Giants in front of Cardinals. Like you guys have the same problem. Like you hate your GM. You think your owners don't do quite enough to get big names. And you guys consistently the last, what do you say, since 2016 or 17, you guys don't beat the teams you should beat for the division. Like the Brewers are not a better franchise. Like how are they a better franchise than you guys?
They spend less than us. They have less big names than us, and they're kicking our butts.
I know.
Something is wrong. So what happened here was in 2012 when La Russa left and AP took off after the World Series in 11. Slowly, piece by piece, the Cardinal way started going away, and it wasn't passed down, and the guys didn't know it, and
even with Molina
front office,
even with Molina there,
so here's where it all comes down to a crash. Like Molina and Waino were the last two factions of the Cardinal way, and they did what they could.
Yes.
But once they left 2 years ago, you've seen the absolute implosion of the St. Louis Cardinals.
So
this franchise has
like
gone
the Giants
from
with Buster Posey. That's again another similarity. These teams are sickening. I am finding too many similarities with this team. I do not.
You're pushing the Buster Posey thing.
I'm pushing.
It's completely different because he was not the entire franchise. He was not the bedrock of the franchise.
I would disagree, but I mean the pitching I guess is obviously key. But you guys needed to have pitching for Molina.
The San Francisco's pitching was so much better than ours for the entire time that Buster Posey was there.
Posey was the bedrock of the Giants. So everybody out here thinks Posey is the guy. They don't think of anybody else. He's the guy.
Okay.
That's what I'm just saying. The way that's how it is.
They smoke a lot of weed out there in California, man. So
Well, that's
they're
why
all a little high.
they are. But we all know our baseball. We don't think Lincecum. He got the next one, but he had the fall off, and so that's where he had to go to the bullpen. Remember when the Giants won one of the World Series? So there is that to it. I mean, Bumgarner was there with it, but Posey was the rock for all three, and then he had the big homer off Matt Latos. I think he's the guy that kind of
fine. I mean, I give you the argument just because. I'll be honest. When I was younger, if the Cardinals went in and I stopped watching, I'd look at the newspaper or the internet.
Come on, Josh. Come on.
Dude, I was playing football. I had more things.
I'm funny. That's exactly how I'd be too, though. Sometimes like you can't watch it because you're like, my team should be beating this team. Like they should be here. They should be here to watch it. I get you. I'm not especially back then.
I mean, no, I just that's kind of where I'm at on that. But no, I mean, if that's the Giants, I mean, I get it. But Tyler, I feel your pain, man. I feel your pain. But this is pretty universal out here. Everybody's clamoring for Chaim Bloom to take over as the Pobo, and Mozeliak's going to get paid regardless. So just move him to a different part of the organization. Let Chaim Bloom start the transformation of the process, and let's just move on. But be honest. If you're not going to up payroll, don't tell us you're going to up payroll. Don't tell guys who they could have traded Arenado and gotten a buttload of young talent. They could have traded Goldschmidt and gotten a buttload of young talent. And we could have started this rebuild 2 years ago. And we'd be 2 years closer to where we want to be with Sajaci, with Herrera, with Wynn, with Walker, with Victor Scott all coming in now. Like we could be so much further ahead if they would have done this
right. Young guys, right? Just trust the young guys.
In my opinion, with the young guys we have, yes. Yeah. And with the young guys we've acquired,
but you do have Wynn going forward, and he's obviously going to be a stud for you with it. Hey, what do you think between these two teams? What do you think between the Rays as a disappointment? All right, you got the Rays there, and then you have the Red Sox. Which one was kind of more disappointing to you? Rays, yeah. Okay. I mean, I was kind of like you, where I expected a little bit. So maybe that's where your difference with the Pirates was with me, was in that one. So I kind of hear
the Red Sox are over 500.
They are.
I didn't know if they would even be a 500 team.
But their second half was, I guess, disappointing maybe for me.
Yeah, but that pitching was only going to do what it was going to do for so long.
True. That's a good point.
But that pitching was awesome until the All-Star break.
I agree. They had. I agree. Those were parts with it. Shane Blum was definitely good. Yeah, he's definitely going with the rebuild mode with it. All right, so those are my big. Did you have any other ones, Josh, that you wanted to get into? It's a biggest. How about Craig, individual Kimbrel from the Orioles?
Absolute disappointment.
I feel like that was one that kind of had to stand out a little bit.
Astros, earlier in the year.
Yeah, but division winners the other day, they won that. Yeah.
No, but he would be a disappointment. I'm just blanking on the name.
Abreu.
Seriously, yes.
Jose Abreu. Yeah, Jose Abreu. Yeah,
that was the disappointment. Miles Michaelis has been a disappointment for the Cardinals as an individual. So is Arenado and Goldschmidt. Shohei Ohtani has not been a disappointment.
He
has lived up to the hype.
Is he going to get double nickel? Is he going to get that? Is he going to get the double?
If he doesn't at this point, I will be upset.
You will be upset.
I'll legitimately be mad because I was like, if he gets to 50-50, I'm all in. He got to 50-50 and immediately went to 50-51. And I was like, dude, he's going to get 50-55. It's good. I'm good. I'm good with this. Let's do it. And he didn't. And he hasn't yet. Oh, my God. We just lost him.
Hopefully not. I think
I still hear you. I hear you. I just can't see you.
I think it's my video script.
But, no, I can't say the Braves. I can't say the Braves are disappointment because they were so injury plagued. I mean, just one thing after another. I think if they were healthy, I don't see the Mets being in this fight. I think the Mets and the Diamondbacks would be battling for the last spot. That's just me personally.
Well, if you can hear me fine, I have no idea why my screen's not up. I guess I got too ugly here, but it's not up there for a minute there. But we'll see here. I'm not going to mess around too much with it. So if you can hear me, I'm good with it. Hey, let's get the standings check. I got it at the bottom here with it going on. All right. So are the Padres more dangerous than LA? That's kind of what I had. Are they more dangerous? Really? All right. So I mean, let's look at the standings right now. You have the Dodgers.
I think LA gets bounced the first chance that somebody has to bounce them.
So the pitching that was a big disappointment too. Is the Dodgers' health as pitching staff, right?
Well, yeah, I mean Yamamoto has been a total disappointment.
Yeah, I would say that would probably be true on that one. I'd say he's definitely on that one. I reached with it. But I would say that
hurt. I know,
yeah,
but you paid him all that money and he got hurt.
I still
Go
think
figure.
he'll have a good career though.
Oh, so do I. I think he'll have a fine career. I don't think he'll ever live. I don't think he will live up to the hype.
Really? Okay. All right. Fair enough. So you got him with it. I think that the Astros they clinch the division there with it again, like we said the other day. Today they give Bregman their final regular season game. He kind of gets a walk off, kind of get indicating that there might be maybe there's a chance that he won't be an Astro next year. So Astros get that division again, 10 games back, like we said there at that point, Josh. I don't know. So the Bregman part there too with it. Orioles playoff berth, and then the Tigers continue to roll. Anything else kind of stand out to you on that?
I don't want to play the Tigers.
Yeah.
Whoever is playing Tigers in the first round, you don't want to play the Tigers.
Yeah.
You just don't. I would be not be. The Kansas City Royals had lost 7 games in a row. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like they had lost 7 games in a row. And they still only have 74 losses. If this team turns it around for this last weekend of baseball, they're going to be in the wild card. If they can win the wild card, I would love to see Detroit, Kansas City in the ALCS just because I think it'd be funny.
That would be great if that was the case, if you're able to have something like that happen.
That would be absolutely hilarious because they should be in different parts of the bracket.
Man, Tigers Royals. Who would have thought that 2 months ago? Or Tigers in the play.
Well, before we move on, hold on. Let's talk about a prediction we all had wrong. We thought that the AL Central was going to be trash. We all had different picks for the winners and how the division was going to end up. None of us thought that 4 of them would be fighting for playoff spots.
Absolutely not.
So that we completely, and I think everybody missed the boat on that. I never saw anybody say that they thought the AL Central was going to be one of the most competitive on the upside divisions. Sorry.
No, absolutely. I never thought it was going to be anything close to that.
I came really prepared tonight.
The fact that they got the Tigers, involved there with that is one I was just I would have never guessed.
They traded away Flaherty and other.
Some people had the Tigers. I know some people did. I know some did. You're right. That's the thing is they traded Flaherty and they still, they traded these guys and they still are making a little bit of a run. That's what's crazy about it. You're right. That's a good point.
The Dodgers picked him up and they didn't take off.
They were a seller and they are making a run. That doesn't usually happen very often. That you are definitely right about that one. That does not happen very often at all. Anything else with the standings? The Guardians, they clinch as well this week. They end up tying the Yankees in wins so far right now, so there's still a chance they could get the top seed there. Dodgers and Phillies still battling that out for top seed as well. I don't know. The Mets, they look like they're comfortable, but at the same time, the Braves making a little push here late with a win 3. The Diamondbacks, I am very concerned about. They are literally hanging on by a thread here. So half game up right now at the moment by the Braves. So the Diamondbacks
they got hot and they've started cooling off now.
They just got swept by the Giants. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's not a good thing right now for them.
That's a division game though. I mean, that can happen.
Well, they haven't been well. They have been not playing good baseball. So we'll see if they can maybe turn it around just a little bit here. That would be probably important for them. Carroll's been good for them, but the second half. But man, Josh, I mean, given how hot they were in the summer, to me, it would be kind of I don't know.
It'd be a letdown.
What do you think? Braves or Diamondbacks, Mets? What 2 out of those 3 teams? What 2 make it?
Jeez. I think it'd be hilarious if the Braves go and sweep the Mets in this weekend series and take them out, and somehow the Diamondbacks make it. I'm gonna go Braves Diamondbacks. Nah!
Braves Diamondbacks just to mess with Aaron. I like it. Aaron well done there with it. That's great. So there's some things here in the final week here. We'll figure it out. I was thinking maybe if I had some time, maybe that it'd be fun to do on Monday morning, like a little recap going into the playoffs Tuesday of maybe who we have, like a little pick thing real quick or something like that. So maybe we can figure something out. Maybe we can figure out at least a short with that. Send something in. We can make something happen with our picks there. Wow, what a shocker. Yep, not shocked there by error at that one. All right. I was gonna kind of get into stat check here a little bit, but I think we'll keep moving here with diamond notes with it. So some of the diamond notes I had this week, Josh, Yu Darvish, first Japanese pitcher to 2,000 strikeouts in Major League Baseball. Ohtani, of course, gets the 50-50. He has a chance to get to 55. The home run ball will be auctioned. We learned as well the White Sox have reached 120 as the mark. I haven't checked the scores yet. Let me check here in a little. I did check the scores, but they did win 4-3 over the Angels. So they are still tied for the most losses in the modern era with 120.
Do you want to see them win out or lose out?
I'd like to see them just stay at 120, I think.
All right, so win out. Okay.
So I'd like to see him win out. Like I said, I have a guy that I coached on that team, believe it or not. So I want to see him at least not finish there with it. So I'd like to see Andrew Vaughn not have to go over it, have the record. That would be interesting if we ever had him on the pod because of that connection. Be like, hey, how was that one? I mean, there'd be that too, but it'd be funny to see that with it. So I think that there's no way they don't get it. I mean, how are they gonna? It's not gonna happen. I mean, it's not. You know what I mean? They're 37 and 120 right now. So they won tonight, obviously, to hang on here. Who did what?
Who do they play to close up the season?
I think it's a tough team, to be honest with you. It's the Tigers at Detroit. So they're probably going to get swept. So do they surprise and sweep Detroit? That I mean, let's put it this way: if Detroit get swept by Chicago, they don't deserve to make the playoffs. So come on, Twins.
Right.
So there we go. That's always my motto with that thing.
The Cardinals and the Giants end the season against each other. That couldn't get more perfect.
Josh, I mean, we should do a 25-minute documentary on simulators with it. No, I'm just kidding. We're bored. We bore people in America with that. I do want to say, if Aaron's still with us, your Mets have been, I mean, just, I don't know what to say about them. You guys believed in them, but I think part of that was just you guys kind of also just staying positive with some of these things. And then it came through because you guys were awful the first 2 months. And, it's kind of rung true. The pitching has picked it up. I still have real questions with your guys' team moving forward, but you hung on here. But we'll see if you guys can actually finish the job. Josh, of course, does not. I think you guys will. I think it's going to be Mets and Braves. The Diamondbacks have been really bad. They have not been playing good baseball at all. I know the Braves will have some double headers and stuff, but it's against the Mets. So it's I don't know. I feel like that's where this is going to matter. I think they end up. I think the Diamondbacks end up not making it.
You know what? Can I change my answer? Can I change my answer because I have got new information that makes me want to change my answer?
What's that?
I think it's going to be Braves Mets too. Arizona's got to play San Diego.
San Diego did clinch, so I guess we'll see if LA clinches. Maybe San Diego gives some players some day off, or maybe they don't pitch something else. But the division doesn't quite mean as much as it did before. But I think mostly everybody would still rather win the division than play in the wild card. But all right, so let's keep that moving with it. Any other thing I saw? The other thing that was kind of funny is Lindor. He's back a little bit. Looks like he plays. That's good, or he was going to be back. So that's a good thing for the Mets. They get him back there as well. And then you have Holiday. He's getting he got the baby bath there, the screen there with it.
Yeah,
so
I saw that.
I thought that was funny as well. So I thought that was good stuff with him did it there with it. So those are my diamond notes for the week. All right, hey, baseball bonanza here, Josh. First playoff moment you remember that doesn't involve your favorite team.
Oh, darn. First one that doesn't involve my favorite team. So I had Super Bowls that are older than World Series ones.
Yeah, who else? I'll give you mine. Mine's first one, Barry Bonds not throwing out Sid Bream at home plate, 1992. I remember my parents bringing me down to watch that game. I mean, there's World Series things. There's other baseball moments that I do remember a little bit, but that was the first one that stood out to me, that whole game, that 1992 Game 7, Pirates-Braves. That's a two random game. And then I've seen highlights. I have Game 7, Twins, Braves, in those ones, but that didn't stand out to me as much as that live action Game 7 And I wanted the Pirates to win, of course, and then the Braves end up pulling it out. So that's where
It's
I'm
got
at.
to be the Gonzalez play for me in 01.
Luis Gonzalez getting the hit against the Yankees.
Yeah, that's got to be it. I mean, that's the one that pops out to me. It's not my own team.
Gosh,
that's the one that pops to me first.
I think you're right. That series is high on my list as well. Some moments that stand out. I don't know if I would have been number one for me, but I probably would have eventually got there with Young Kim giving up the 2 meatballs to tie the game there. So that would have got there. And then Gonzalez, the big one as well. So that's a good one. All right, last week of the season moment to remember. So what I mean by that is like what happened like the final days that like just the final days of the season you remember the most. For me, the ones I remember the most is Evan Longoria getting that walk-off home run. He hit the foul pole. I think it was like 2009 or something like that, like against the Red Sox to eliminate the Red Sox. I think they won the division as a result. It was just a crazy ending to a game. That's one I remember as well. And then I also remember the A's, the final week of the season. They were down. They were down 2 with 3 games to go against the Rangers in 2012, and they had to sweep them. And they end up sweeping the Rangers to win the division in 2012 when they had Coco Crisp and Grant Balfour and all those guys. So those are kind of my last season moments I remember the most. You have any, Josh, maybe?
Man, I got so many of them from being a Cardinals fan.
Which one just stands out to you?
The playoffs.
Is there a moment in that last week?
I can't name a particular moment. No, I can just remember there's so many of those last weeks that you watched on the edge of your seat trying to see if they'd make it in. Oh, Arizona's beating San Francisco right now, by the way.
About time they beat them. They should beat them with it. Hey, when I say a random double play duo, do you think of any? Is there a random double play duo or just somebody? What's the first one that comes to your mind?
Chase Utley and
Jimmy Rollins.
Yeah, Rollins. That's it. Yeah,
Oakland.
Those
Oakland,
two that aren't Cardinals.
Vizquel and Alomar are always kind of ones that me.
Yeah.
Ray Ordonez and Edgardo Alfonso is a random one I think of once in a while. Is a double play combination. They won a World Series together in LA in 2002 with the Angels, or Anaheim at that point. David Eckstein and Adam Kennedy. That is a random double play duo
That's super random.
That caused a lot of freaking heartache for A's and division fans there for a while. So that was a pesky combination. You would be like, well, those guys are just random, but man, like they were just like ball players. You know what I mean? So it was just like
I like David Eckstein though.
And Adam Kennedy was a damn good player. He had 3 home runs against the Twins in the ALCS to take them to the World Series. So he's a beast as well. Had a weird swing, but he was a good player as well. Josh, I know I don't think that you're probably going to get this one as as MLB trivia this week. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to save it for next week because we'll get it going. We'll do it again next week with it. Can I give you just because can I give you a couple A's highlights here just for you to feel what I'm feeling?
I am perfectly fine with A's. I have no problem with the A's. I liked Jose Canseco when I was a kid.
No, here's number 18. So in that 20-game win streak, when everybody mentions Scott Hatterberg, I'm going to show you the play that I think of when I think of this streak. It was number 18. I remember being with my brother in the living room, and with this home run hit, I don't think me and him have ever been more fired up as a brother combination. It was off Big Eddie, everyday Eddie for the Twins. It was going for number 18 in the moment, but it's still the one that it just resonates with me the most, the call. So this is Miguel Tejada, my favorite A's player of all time, going deep for number 18. So everybody mentioned Scott Hatterberg. This is the one to me that matters the absolute most. Right here, off Tejada, right there to the back. Number 18 is the streak. The way how excited he was, the passion, the emotion there with it, the crowd being fired up, and just like Tejada delivering. And here's game 19. This was the one to send it to game 20. So he had back-to-back game-winning hits that helped it get to that point. He won the MVP that year as well, obviously. He's not mentioned much in that movie. And these 2 games aren't mentioned as much as either in that duo. So to me, those are like that's one that just stands out to me, one more than other one. And then Josh, I wanted to get you one more for you if I can just get it up here just a second. Let me see if I can get it up here. But until I can, The other one I had was I was with my dad and brother at this game. So I was probably 14 and got to see this one up there. Matt, do you remember Matt Stairs?
I remember the name.
He was the big lefty kind of hitter. Everybody said he was like a beer softball hitter at the time. So I remember coming home from school. I was probably a sophomore. I think I was a sophomore in high school. We determined at this time. I came up and I'm like, oh, this is a big game in May. The A's can take the division lead if they get it. And my dad randomly said, all right, we can go. And so he drove to the game there on a random Friday night. It was against the Mariners with it. Matt Stairs. And we were there, and there was a Mariners fan, I remember, sitting in front of us. I was talking crap a lot, and a lot of people were giving him a bad time. That's kind of what I remember about the game. And then I remember him being up at the top of the stands when Matt Stairs does the unthinkable. I know if Tyler's watching, he's seen it a million times with me, but this is literally the one I think of first. So, and it's a great call by the great Bill King. Let's get it up here.
Hockey ready again. And the pitch to Stairs. Swung on, busted high in the air to right field. Deep right center. It's going back. It's going. It is a game-winning home run. Matt Stairs has busted one out of the lot. Sasaki.
Such an ugly swing.
Field in stunned silence as Stairs completes the circuit, and a 3-run homer carries the A's home 9-7.
So for me, Josh, that just like for me, that's like the ultimate. Like me with my dad, like those are what I'm thinking about. And I always tell people this: the A's kept me out of trouble when I was a kid. Like I was so obsessed with the A's, they kept me out of trouble. They did. If you want to go out, I'd be like, no, they got a big game. It's like they got the merit. That's where my heart was. So that's why I share some of that stuff with you, because I feel like we've been doing the pod here now for almost 2 years of seasons together. This is where, for me, doing Seventh Inning Stretch matters. Like, this is the team. This is the organization that got me and fell in love with baseball. And so for me, that's why I wanted to share those particular moments with you, because I've kind of been doing it with you for a little bit here. And those are the ones that kind of stand out the absolute most for me when it comes to it as we're ending the show with it. I'm going to get one more to finish the show. So I'm going to say, as we close out, I'm going to play a video, Josh, and then I'm going to end the stream as we kind of get there, just to kind of give you one more. This is the last time the A's had probably their best playoff moment. So I'll end it with that. But Josh, as we get into, before I get into that part with it, since we're not doing trivia this week with it, I wanted to kind of finish with you. Now that we've kind of gone through a whole baseball season together, like this is the first one we've done together. It's kind of quite weird here on Seventh Inning Stretch. What was our highs and lows this year a little bit? Like if we're kind of just talking between us, like, I mean, I felt like this was kind of it was kind of interesting doing the year with you in the sense of that we did it since basically the off season, and we really haven't took too many weeks off, and we definitely haven't took 2 weeks off in a row. So like it's kind of been fun for me to kind of follow the baseball season week by week. I know like there's moments where it's like we can't follow as much or there's things like that, but I mean, this show has kept me invested more than I ever would, I thought, over the last 3 years, kind of bringing me back to some of those childhood things there. But I just got your thoughts with that as we've kind of wrapping up here, year 2 in a way for us.
Well, so since this is my 3rd season, this has been the most well constructed we've done the show in the way of routine and not dragging things out. Because, man, Logan and I used to beat a horse till it was dead and then keep swinging on it. But we were just having fun, just, talking ball. I think we do a lot of things well as we try to interact with the people in the chat, bring them in.
They've been really helpful to the show, too.
Absolutely.
Like Aaron here commenting in, and you're right. That's a big part of it for me and you.
And we have such a big rotation of people because it seems like they're almost in a rotation. We get different ones every week, so it's really great to get that interaction. You do a great job with prep and bringing in the historical stuff and the trivia. You make this show be better, and you've gotten me to pay more attention to other parts of baseball that let's be honest, outside of the Central Division, and I'd pay attention to the National League, but I rarely ever paid any attention to the AL. So. This show
you've been missing out, man. You've been missing out, dude. You've been missing out. I used to be an AL guy. That's where it is. That's why it's funny. I was an AL person, so that's what makes it kind of even funnier from that standpoint.
You got the yin and the yang there, buddy.
We got the yin and the yang there with it.
So no,
no.
I think it'll be a better show next year. Obviously, the playoffs were going to be a little bit different.
Playoffs are going to be fun this year. God,
Yeah, they're going to be different this year, which is going to be nice.
Because we're going to try to do a few like quick after games if we can make our schedules work too. We're going to try to do a little bit more, and it's going to be fun to be able to do that, like at post game. Like when we did I want to do one more like we did last year, the World Series. That was a lot on us, but gosh, that was fun doing that live World Series game. Well, I did enjoy that. It was I did enjoy that one little show we did. That was fun together, kind of reacting. So hopefully we can do something like that again too.
I like all that stuff. I think doing the big shows is fun when we get the people in and we get everybody involved. I like this to be a forum where we can exchange ideas and thoughts, and we can bicker with each other and call each other dumb sometimes.
Yep. And then we'll get Logan obviously more come off season, right? He's an off season guy, so we'll get him on there.
He's off season. He's trade deadline through the end of the off season.
He's already that with it. I'm sure he'll have a few playoff thoughts along the way as well here with it. But it's gonna be a good playoff run. And Josh, believe it or not, when we're on the show Wednesday, that is what we're gonna be reacting to is wild card games. So we'll have a lot to that's kind of weird to be thinking about, right? Like after what I said, like we'll have wild card games that me and you will be reacting to. I think me and you need to do picks before, so we'll do that. Maybe send it to Brandon. He can get it on X for us there as well.
Once they set the lineup.
So we can basically hold each other accountable for our picks. That's what we want. We want accountability around 7th inning stretch here. Brandon,
you're going down.
Brandon is in Florida, though, so hopefully he makes it back. We get him there. Right there. Come back, Brandon.
He's got to get back before the hurricane hits.
Yeah, come back before that. Yeah, definitely don't want to hang on that long as well. All right, Josh, did I go wrong anywhere tonight? Did I all right? Did I hit anything?
No, you weren't wrong tonight. You were good to go tonight, buddy.
I was pissed tonight a little bit, so hopefully you'll bear with me tomorrow.
It was good to see the raw emotion from you. Like
that was good.
I've seen you get worked up, but when you talk about your team, it's different than anything else you talk about, and you did good.
It is, and I think the reason I try to do that is because I know I become an unstable human being if I get like a little bit more. I think that's why my video shut off. I said this guy's pissing me off on stream. So we're gonna get about with it here. Edwards, good show. I'll see you next week. All right with it. I'm gonna leave you with a minute of the last time the A's, probably the last big playoff win, Game 4, 2012, against the Tigers there with it. And then we'll end the stream there with it. I'm gonna get Coco Crisp up here. Game 4. I love
Coco.
Game 4, Detroit. Jose Valverde on that. Don't give me this Oakland doesn't have a fan base crap, people. I'm just sorry. That's not where we're gonna go with it. So Coco, you end the show tonight. Oakland Athletics fans, I'll see you out there tomorrow for the game 12:37, and we will cry together. All right. Josh Edwards, see you next week, my friend.
See you, buddy.
Coco Crisp has had some great at-bats tonight. He does not have a hit. He reached on an air score to run, but he has done a good job handling different pitches.
Smith leads the second in a tie ball game. Valverde deals, and Coco, it's a base hit to right field. Smith to third, up the ball, bobbled and right by Garcia, and the A's have won it. Seth Smith scores from second, a base hit to right field by Coco Crisp. Garcia charging from right, but he bobbled the ball, and once he bobbled it, it was a moot point. The A's are going crazy, back behind the bag at first, jumping up and down, and the A's have forced a fifth game with a 3-run bottom of the ninth inning, and they beat the Tigers by the final of 4-3.
Unbelievable. 15 walk-off. And Coco Crisp does it again. Vince Cotronos said first pitch,